What up? What up? Good morning, my friends. Good afternoon. Good evening. Whenever you're listening to this, whatever time of day it is, good freaking day. I must say, I am feeling a little bit like hyper because I am like literally chugging espresso right now. I've been up since about 3:30 this morning, 3:45, because my fiance loves to work at the airport early and I am his ride. So we've been up already. It's about 9 o'clock when I'm recording this. I have taken him to work. I've gone to the gym. I've showered. I've taken the dog for a walk. I've had two breakfasts. I've had now a double espresso. I've had my protein shake. I've written my gratitude journal. I've listened to music. I've listened to a podcast. So I mean, I've like fit a whole day already. And it's 9 o'clock in the morning. So that's that. And thank you for being here. If you are watching me on video, you'll notice I am in my Boston Marathon gear. I don't even know if you noticed, but that's what I'm wearing. I have my medal around my neck because, yes, I'm a tool and I'm going to keep it on because I never wear this. I don't think I've put this on since April 17th of 2023 when I ran the marathon. So here we are. If that's any indication of what we're going to talk about today, you got it. We're going to talk about the marathon. And I'm going to go through some, again, I hate saying that I'm giving anybody advice because what do I know to be giving advice? But I'm going to be giving you some tidbits and maybe some things that you can take with you if you are running. This is specifically if you're running the Boston Marathon, but I feel like this can be used for most marathons. And if you're not running a marathon, I think I would encourage you to still stay with me and listen because I think you can learn some things that will cross over into your life as well. And it doesn't just pertain to running a marathon. So let's get after it. I'm so glad you're here. This is going to be a fun episode. I'm really excited for this. And if you're wondering why I'm recording this in January, it's because everybody's training right now. So this is when the training gets real, the training gets serious. The people who are running the Boston Marathon are fundraising and doing all the things to prep themselves to run the mother freaking Boston Marathon, which is amazing. I think this is going to be the 100 and mine says 127th. So this will be the 128th Boston Marathon. It's oh my god, it's everything that it's hyped up to be. It's amazing, and I'm excited to kind of dive into this and to go back down memory lane from. It's only been, my god, when was April? I don't know, 9 months ago. You do the math. So yes, let's get into this. Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to shout out the organization that I ran this through because I am forever grateful that they gave me this opportunity and granted me this, believing in me to fundraise for them and to allow me to run for their organization. And that is Team BMC, which is Boston Medical Center. They, to be honest, like it's a great organization. The work that they do just for the community of Boston it's huge. It's amazing. It transcends anything else that I have witnessed. And I'm grateful that I was able to be a part of that and to raise funds to help their cause. I was able to raise, I think, close to like $7,500, which is not easy. I have to say, I'm gonna say this first and foremost. If you're doing this right now and you're fundraising and training for the marathon, the fundraising is far harder than the run. So I don't know if that's good news or if that's bad news, but that's just the honest truth for me. The fundraising was so much harder than I had anticipated. Okay, so number one regarding the marathon is have a vision, see yourself, sit there and envision yourself crossing that finish line. I know that it may seem like a huge feat and that you're never going to get there, but I think this is a huge part of it in believing in yourself and creating that vision of literally seeing yourself running down Boylston, hearing the crowd and crossing that finish line. Like that feeling, I don't know if I'll ever get again. Like the euphoria, the relief, everything that came along with it was like the most amazing feeling ever. And of course, maybe like 15 minutes after that feeling, I could hardly walk. But in that moment, I don't think that I'll ever, ever, ever forget that. It was, oh my God, it was so amazing. Oh, and just to kind of go a little bit off topic, if you're also watching a video, you'll notice the Start Today hat because start today, the back says tomorrow is not guaranteed. So if you're training, if you're fundraising, start today. Do it. Don't wait. Okay, yes. So see yourself crossing that finish line. Watch YouTube videos. Be inspired. Look up people who have marathon vlogs. I had found somebody that was like in London who had a marathon vlog that he just kind of brought you along on his training process. And it just inspired me. It was like a real human being just out there doing his thing, showing his struggles. And there's so much content out there on marathons and, people doing all sorts of different things. So YouTube the course if you're specifically if you're running Boston, and I'm sure if you're running any of the big city marathons, you can probably YouTube the course, and like you can just start to kind of see what you're going to be seeing and putting yourself in those shoes and just like closing your eyes and getting yourself there and being like, yes, like I can do this. I can feel my feet on the ground. I can feel the breeze. Hopefully it's not hopefully it's not too cold. That's a whole other topic, is to brace yourself for the weather. For me, I think I was a little bit nervous. I was actually kind of thankful because it was raining, and it wasn't like freezing cold though. It was like it was raining, and it was enough rain to like keep you cool, but not to where you're like uncomfortable, I guess. I was pretty wet. I mean, by the end I think I was actually kind of soaked, but what I'm saying is prepare yourself for the weather, because we live in Boston, or even if you don't live here and you're coming here, like the weather, you never know. It could be blazing hot, it could be cold, it could be rainy, it could be snowing, it could be a beautiful, wonderful spring day, which is what we, of course, hope for. Maybe some cloud coverage because the sun is brutal. So, yeah, do all the things. Be corny, make your own vlog, record your own process and bring people along the journey with you. I think if I could go back, that is something that I think I would have done, was to just make a vlog, and whoever wants to follow, great, because what like an amazing thing to bring people along with your journey, your struggles, and like record it all. And even if you're not sharing it, at least for yourself, like you can kind of just like reference it and see how far you've grown and how far you've come with it. So yes, so the first thing, envision yourself. The second thing is, yes, I know, kind of boring, but find a training program, but don't panic. Like, and don't feel like you have to follow it like to a T. If you're running specifically, I'm just going to shout out again Boston Medical Center. If you're running for them, Team BMC, I know that Coach John Fury like provides a ton of training programs for people, and I think a lot of the different organizations he provides them for, they're great. They're an amazing foundation, an amazing reference point to kind of go off of. But like everybody's body is so different, so I had like noticed when I had started doing it, like there were some things that I was like, this doesn't feel too great to me. But again, it was an amazing reference, an amazing place for me to kind of like start, have an outline, and like I could tweak things kind of here and there, because we all also have like different schedules. So like it's gonna be different for everybody. Like this may be your first marathon, this may be your 10th marathon, and he has different tiers too for like experience levels, which again is amazing and great. But I think at the end of the day, like you're still gonna have to tweak it a little bit and make it the best the best program for you that's gonna benefit you the most. Like, girl, the goal is to finish the race. Like, ain't nobody trying to win this race, ain't nobody trying to break a record. Just finish the damn thing. Like that is the goal of a marathon. Like if you're out here trying to sprint or make it to the Olympics or something, like, girl, kudos to you, because I was just trying to finish the thing, and I did. And I'm gonna say that this is the part that kind of surprises most people. Before I ran the Boston Marathon, I had only ran a total at my max of 10 miles. I did not run any further than 10 miles, which is crazy and is not in the training program. So I honestly really didn't follow the training program that I was given. And here's why. I battled some injuries. I started having, which I had never had before, pain that was in, it would usually be, I think, in my left hip all the way down to my knee. And then it would go to the other side. And some days it was just my hip, some days it was just my knee, some days it was both. And it was terrible. I could hardly walk. Like I could get 2-3 miles fine, and then it would kick up. And what I learned through that process, I went to physical therapy. I was like reaching out to the coaches that we had. I had like IT band syndrome. And for those of you who don't know, your IT band is the ligament that like connects like from your hip to your knee. And you can't really like stretch that, like the ligament. So basically like what you have to do is stretch the muscles around it and strengthen those like little muscles that you may not even realize are causing you the pain. So I did a little bit of physical therapy. It it helped me a little bit, but ultimately, I think it was the stretching. I had a rigorous stretching plan. My partner can attest to this. I was doing some funky things every day because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Like, I can hardly get past 4 miles. Like, this hurts. And again, I had never had pain like that. Like, I've always been, pretty active. When I was back in high school, junior high, like I ran cross country and track, but like I didn't, you didn't run more than like maybe 6 miles at practice, and that was a lot. So for me, I was like, oh my god, like I think what had happened is I came out of the gates too strong. Like when I started my training, I like literally, when I had the idea of the marathon, I'm like, okay, let's do this. I literally went out and ran like 8 miles when I hadn't ran like two in years, and I was like, okay, mistake. Don't do that. Like, really, just don't do that. Work your way up. I think that I had like just made it so inflamed and angry to begin with that I just was like starting behind the eight ball. So don't start off too fast. Like, give yourself time. Don't be like me and be so impatient. Like, have some patience, trust the process, and if you're in a good, healthy place, like, yeah, follow those programs that are provided. Like, they will help you. It will provide you a great outline. But again, don't feel like if you miss a day or you need like a rest day, like, don't feel like you can't. Like, it's okay. You got to listen to your body. And I think that's my biggest advice to you is listen to your freaking body. You know, nobody else knows. And sometimes you have to push yourself. Like, if you're feeling a little bit lazy, like, yes, you have to push yourself. It's a mindset thing. But if you're experiencing like pain, like, that's not normal. Some soreness, yes. Pain, not normal. So if you start having pain, the second you start having it, get some help, get some physical therapy, reach out for questions, or else it's only going to get worse. And along with the training program, I ran a lot with my AirPods, with some podcasts, some music, which is amazing and great. But I am going to recommend this to everybody: is try to do some long runs in silence. Okay, listen to the nature, to the cars, to whatever's around you. Do it without headphones, and I'm going to tell you why. I had the plan of going through this whole race with my AirPods in, and when I got to Hopkinton, I think it's how you say it, the start line of the Boston Marathon. When we got there, whatever I had downloaded on my phone onto Spotify was gone. And I had no service because there's a billion, jillion people out there. And so guess what? I had no choice. Like, I had to run without them. And this is what I learned is I think that was a blessing in disguise, because at first I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna have to run this for, 4 to 5 hours without anything going in my ears. And I think it worked out in my favor, because if I can't even express to you the energy that the crowd at the Boston Marathon brings you. They will literally carry you start to finish. And I swear to you, if I hadn't had that crowd, I really don't know that I would have finished, because I felt like I was so underprepared because I hadn't been able to run as much because of the pain and the injuries I was having. I was literally resting so much because I was like, I just want to get to the start line and just see how far I can get. Like, my goal was to, like, of course I wanted to finish, but like I was like, I'm just gonna see how far I can get. Like, I can't go into this with a bunch of pain. Like, if I'm just trying to get 20 miles in before the race just to like say I did it, like, it's not gonna do me any good if I'm like in a ton of pain. So I'm telling you, like, it was amazing. Like, there's just like so many kids everywhere with their signs. Like, they all want high fives. Like, interact with the crowd. Like, give them high fives. Like, be there, be present, and like take your headphones out. Like, and if you need them, fine. Maybe like start the race with them, and then take them out at some points, like, and just let the crowd, like the energy, like come into your body. Like, oh my god, it's amazing. I can't even explain it to you. There's dogs everywhere and people just like screaming, and just, oh god, please, 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 please try to run without some headphones some point during the race. I swear, it's amazing. It's so cool. Okay, so we've got envision the race, envision yourself crossing the finish line. We've got the training program. Number three, which I've talked on, is injuries and setbacks. It's going to happen. You're going to get sick. You're going to have an injury, whether it's a blister on your toe or the pain I was having or something in your foot, like anything. Like, you're going to have some pain and some injuries, and you need to be smart about it. Okay. Rest, 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 stretch, find the help, go to physical therapy, do whatever you got to do. Don't overdo it. Don't get in your head and be like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do the race if I don't get these runs in. If you get to race day and you're injured, you are not going to make it. I promise. Like, just please listen to what I'm saying. Like, if you have injuries, if you're having setbacks like that, be patient. And I know it's not easy. So, along with injuries and illness and anything that you're dealing with, life is going to happen. Okay. When I look back on this time that I was training, I was working a travel nurse contract, which took up so much of my time because I was working 48 hours a week, which is 4 12-hour shifts in the emergency department. I was exhausted. I had another job on top of that. And I was trying to just squeeze in runs wherever I could. And let me tell you, like, not a good idea. Like I was very burnt out. I was trying to fundraise. When I look back on that part, like the training and the fundraising, like it actually was a really bad time for me because I had put way too much on my plate and I bit off way more than I could chew. And if you're not gonna, you need to give this time, give it some space and give it your focus. Like if you've got a bunch of other stuff going on in your life, it's gonna be hard. It's doable. I mean, obviously I'm here, I did it, and I'm thankful I did it. But I wish that I would have given the training process the time and space that it deserved because I didn't, and I lost that part of it because and that's probably why I got injured was because I was so set on just like getting out there. I had to get my runs in on those specific days, and I was exhausted. My body was exhausted. Like I was mentally tired. Like if any of you have ever worked 48 hours in an emergency department on any given week, it's exhausting. But doing that week after week after week after week for 6 months, like it's too much. It's too much. And adding training for a marathon in that mix is no bueno. So give it the time and space it deserves. And along with that is, your mindset about this, like you're gonna have doubts, you're gonna have fears, you're gonna, have a bad day where you can hardly run 6 miles just mentally, and you're gonna be like, dude, I cannot fucking do this. Like I can't do this. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt, believe in yourself, allow yourself to have the bad day, process those feelings. That's when you phone a friend. That's when you check in with somebody and be like, yo, help me out. Watch that inspirational or motivational video on YouTube. There's a million of them. And get yourself pumped up. Put on your favorite song and just get yourself in that mindset and chalk it up to a bad day. It's fine. We all have them. Like we all have bad days in general, but especially when you're training for something like a marathon, like you're gonna have days where you can hardly put one foot in front of the other. So it's all right. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna finish the race. And remember, it's 26.2 miles. Like that is not normal. That is not something that humans were just made to do. So give yourself that space, give yourself some grace, and get your butt out there and keep going. One foot in front of the other. Every day is a new day, and don't forget that. Okay, my fourth tidbit is find a higher purpose than yourself that you're training for. Yes, do this for you. Find that motivation within yourself. Be super proud of yourself and be super present with yourself, but find a higher purpose. When I was doing this, I had to really get deep with this one because I'm not always the best at just doing something for myself. Like I almost need like a outside source that I'm like working for or that I'm like doing something for somebody else. And so when I was doing this, I would remind myself when I was struggling, I would remind myself like, why are you doing this? And at the end of the day, the purpose behind this was I was running for Boston Medical Center. Like I was running for their organization. And I knew that the funds I was raising and like the bib that I got to represent Boston Medical Center meant so much more. Like I was helping people, the money went to helping things that funded things like addiction and, like the food pantry that Boston Medical Center has and just helping like with like resources and money for families that need it. And for me, like that motivated me and inspired me to be able to just like on my bad days or days I didn't want to do it and be like, no, like this is so much bigger than you, Colton. Like you need to get your butt out there and like prove that you're going to show up and do what you said to do and do what you signed up for, because I almost quit. I did. I had emailed the organization leaders and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, because you start fundraising, and here's the kicker: is you provide your information, your credit card information, as you should, because they need the money. That's what they're doing. That's the whole point. And so if you can't fulfill the requirement, you pay the remainder of whatever their minimum balance is that you have to raise. But you do have some time. So I believe for us it was by the end of January we had to officially apply for the race. So at that point we were already fundraising, but come that time you had to make the decision. Like if you want a bib, you have to apply and register for the race. And if you don't, then you lose your spot, but the money you fundraised still goes to them, but you don't have to pay the difference. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like this is becoming too much. And to be honest, my dad, I had like was talking to my dad and he was like, I think you really can do this. Like I think this is gonna be something that if you don't fulfill, that you're gonna look back and like really, really regret this, which I don't really regret a whole lot. Like I don't have that. It's I just not something inside of me that I really do. But I think he was right. And I look back and I'm like, oh, like thank God I had like talked to him about it because it really, really did motivate me and make me think about it twice. And once I made that decision, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. Like there's no going back, or you're gonna pay thousands of dollars because if you just kind of give up and throw in the towel, then then for what? So yeah, so even if it's not the organization that you're running for that is motivating you every day, fine. Do it for your family, for your friends, for your kids. Find something bigger than you. Think of people that may not have the means to have this experience and do what you're doing, and you know be grateful that like you have a physical able body that can go out there and run this marathon and like even just like compete with yourself and to just like have this opportunity to go out there and like run a marathon, and specifically the Boston Marathon. Like it's a big deal. It's such an amazing experience. And so if you can't find anything else, like start there. Like realize how truthfully not lucky, but just like realize how amazing it is that like at this point in time in your life that you have the opportunity to compete in this race and to have this awesome cool medal at the end and cool gear. Like it's so awesome. Every time I wear this jacket, like I'm just like reminded like, oh, how cool. And I'll usually wear this like if I'm like traveling, like if I'm flying, because it's light, it's comfy to wear to like the airport. And it's always like a conversation starter. Like someone usually will comment on it like it's awesome. And it's hilarious because I live in the Boston area, but you get to Boston Logan the day after the race, the entire airport is like filled with like the Boston Marathon jacket. Like it's awesome. Like and it's so cool. It's like, hey, I see you. Like you ran the marathon too. Like good job. Like it's awesome. It's such a cool community to be a part of. And if you know Boston, like Boston is like one of the most passionate cities when it comes to like anything sports. So like the marathon, it's just a big deal. Okay, have I said it enough? It's a big freaking deal. Okay, number 5, enjoy the process. Like be present. Like you just I don't know how else to like drill this into your head. Like you're probably like, yeah, we get it, Colton. Like we get it, but like enjoy it. Be present with yourself. Like I said, if I could go back, I really would be more present in the training process and allow myself to experience it without so much stress and angst and like worry. Like I was so worried about the fundraising and about my injuries, and I was working so much. Like I was just so worried. Like I really wish I could go back and have that time again. So I'm not going to say too much more about it because I've already, like I said, drilled this into everybody's head. But like just enjoy it. I love it, and like share your experiences with your loved ones. And if nothing else, like document your journey through writing or through vlogs or however you can, like on your phone, just whip it out and just like kind of, talk to yourself. And that way you can kind of go back and check in to see how it was going for you. The last thing I'm going to talk about, my last piece of tidbits that I have is the equipment that you're using. So this is a controversial topic, I think, because there's so much stuff out there that you can buy and have for race day. And here is my personal outlook on it. You don't need most of it. Okay. The thing that you need, that you absolutely need, and you'll hear any marathon runner say this, is to invest in a good pair of shoes. All right. I'm not going to go too far into it. Figure out what shoe works best for you. Go to your local running store. They will help you. I went to a local running store here in Boston, Heartbreak Hill Running Co., I think is what it was called. Heartbreak Hill Running. Go there, check them out. They have a few locations. They literally did a little assessment with me and helped me find some shoes that worked best for me. And I ended up using On Clouds to run the marathon. I trained in them and I used them for the race. Do not, and you'll hear this anywhere you look to, do not get new equipment on race day. Don't wear anything crazy new. Like stick to the plan. If you've done it before on your training, do it on race day. Like don't buy a whole new outfit for the race day to look cool. Like nobody fucking cares what you're wearing. Show up in what you've trained in. And That way you don't have any surprises. And something that I made the mistake of that I probably wouldn't do again is I had this like big old pack with like 2 water bottles on the side, and like that way I could like fit things in it as well. No, you don't need it. Maybe like a little thing on your arm to like hold your cell phone, but you don't need the water because there are water stations. Again, I'm speaking for the Boston Marathon. Other marathons, I don't know, but literally the entire route. There's water, there's Gatorade, Powerade, whatever they have, like the entire way. You don't need your own. So I highly recommend packing light. And what you basically need room for is I used the Martin gels. They have 25 grams of sugar, 25 grams of carbs, and 20 milligrams of sodium per little packet. And I had read somewhere that it was beneficial to do it every 3 miles. And that's what I did. Every 3 miles, I'd whip one out, and it would just give me the little energy boost that I needed to keep going. And this leads me to like the nutrition aspect of the marathon is, again, as same with the outfit, don't change anything up before you run. Like, have your meal maybe that you've had like literally 100 times before you run the marathon, because you don't want to wake up on marathon day and like, oh, I'm gonna have this different breakfast because I'm inspired and motivated this morning. Like, don't do that. You do not want to shit your pants while you're running the course, and it happens. So I'm just forewarning you, don't change up what you eat on race day. Nutrition is literally one of the most important things in our lives, but especially when you're training for something like this, like you need electrolytes, you need the carbs, you need the sugar, you need it. 26.2 miles and running from anywhere to from like 4 to 6 hours is intense. And if you're not nourishing your body correctly, like you're gonna get cramps, you're gonna feel terrible, like not a good idea. So plan accordingly with the nutrition. There should be also resources provided to you by your organization that you're running with. And if not, like reach out, YouTube, look it up, like do your research, because you do not want to be underprepared when it comes to nutrition. Okay. And just a little side note, no, I did not shit my pants during the race. It was smooth sailing. All right. Yeah. So that's what I have to say. Those are my tidbits on running a marathon, specifically Boston. And I hope that this helps you because it's kind of scary, and especially if this is your first marathon, it's a little bit scary. But don't be so overwhelmed by it, and don't make it bigger than it has to be. It's an awesome, amazing, great experience. It's a big deal. And as long as you show up and give it your best effort, that's all you can do, right? That's all you can do. So don't overthink it. Like, don't sit and stress about it. You're not trying to qualify for the damn Olympics. Like, just show up and run and have a good time and be with community. And you're going to feel nervous. Like, it's like the whole energy when you get there, like, you're going to feel that. And on race day, I'll give you a little kind of like how it went. We took shuttle buses from Boston over to Hopkinton, which I think was like 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I'm not exactly sure. And you get there. That's kind of the worst part because you're at this like compound with like everybody that's like racing, and there's waves of people. And so you sit and you wait and you wait. Thank God, like literally, thank God we had we were inside for Team BMC because it was raining and there was a bunch of people who had to wait outside, and I felt very bad for them, but we were lucky. We got to wait inside and keep ourselves, stay dry and wait for the marathon to start because we were there for a while. I'd say like an hour and a half before the race started. And oh yeah, that reminds me. As I was preparing and watching everybody and I was stretching and we're all like waiting to start or waiting to get our signal, our cue to walk to, because I think it was like anywhere between like a half mile and a mile that we had to walk to the starting line, but we had to wait inside for our cue. And during this time, everybody's getting ready. I'm like stretching. I noticed everybody's like, putting Vaseline places and like lathering it up. And like, I'm like, oh, I didn't buy anything like that. Like, I didn't get that memo. You need it. Okay. And if you see people using some, just ask them to borrow it. When I finished the race, oh my God, my nipples and my inner thighs were chafed, like bleeding chafed. Like I had scabs on my nipples for weeks after. And yes, it hurt because my muscles were sore afterwards to walk. But for literally probably like 10 days after the marathon, my inner thighs were awful. It was like rubbing glass. Like fucking hurt. Anytime I would shower, anything like that, it was miserable. So please don't do that. Oh my God. And I felt it like pretty early on in the race. I felt the chafing and I was like, oh God, that hurt. I have big thighs. So like, ow. So yeah, do what you got to do to not chafe. Like look up all the things because I don't even know. I just know people use Vaseline. And I know that if I ever run a marathon like that again, like that will be my number one priority is to make sure that I don't ever chafe like that again. I think that my nipples had chafed because like the shirt I was wearing and it was raining. So I don't know. I would wear nipple guards next time. I'm just saying that shit hurt. Anyways, so then yes, you walk, however, like I said, either half mile or a mile to the start line. And at the beginning, when you start, don't sprint because you're going to have adrenaline. You're going to be pumped up. You're going to be so ready to go. You've been waiting. The anticipation's been building up. You've been training for months. You're going to get to the start line. Everybody, the energy, it's buzzing. Start off slow. You can always speed up a little bit. Start off slow. I promise you. It'll warm your body up after you've just been sitting for a little while. Like just start off slow. If you start off too fast, like you're going to burn yourself out. You have a long way to go. Like just start off slow. There's medical tents along the way if you need help. And I really hope that you have some family and friends there to cheer you on because that energy is just like amazing. The whole inspiration for this podcast was from this marathon when I got to mile 17, hence the Mile 17 podcast. My sister and her boyfriend and my lovely fiance were there, and the hugs and the kisses and the tears that were exchanged was like something I will never ever be able to recreate because it was just so amazing. And it was so brief because I was running, but I stopped and it was just like, oh, I loved it. And that was like my motivation to get there because I knew they were at mile 17. My sister had told me that's where they would be. Then after that, oh, it set in. I was like, oh my God, I still have 9 miles to go and I am like unwell. I'm telling you, I was like pumped up and good until then. And it was like, after that, I was like struggling. Like, I was like, I don't know if I can finish this. And again, the inspiration for this podcast was that I freaking did it. I dug deep. I did not stop running. I slowed down. I know I slowed down, but I did not stop. I kept going, kept trucking along. And I'm telling you, the people, the spectators, even all these strangers, I have no idea who they are. Like, keep going, you've got this. Like, you only have a little bit more left. You're amazing. Like, and again, like our shirts, like it said, Team BMC. So people would shout us out, like, go Team BMC. And it's like, oh, it's just it makes me emotional because it's like it was like that's what life's about. Like, that's the connection that we all want, that we all crave. Like, we're all there despite of different worldviews or political views or ways of life or gender identity or race or anything. Like everybody was just there to just like cheer each other on. And it was just like so much love. And like if we all lived that way all the time, oh God, this world would be amazing. Oh my God, did you just hear that? Oh, I should not do that. But yes, as you can tell, I'm very passionate. I love this experience. So I hope you loved it. And I hope that you have the most amazing time. And please, 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 please enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. And I'm so glad that you're doing this. If you're running the Boston Marathon, I'm so happy you're doing it because it's going to be something that you never, ever, ever forget. And yeah, go to the expo. You have to go to the expo to get your bib the like week before the marathon. So make sure you go and check it all out. They'll have awesome like vendors and you can buy your stuff, your apparel. I bought this jacket there and you don't get your medal until you finish the race. So yes, please enjoy the process. Like have such a great time and be present and share your experience with everybody else and allow your friends and your family to support you and to cheer you on because you're going to need it and make sure you cheer yourself on too. So thanks everybody for listening to this. If you're not running a marathon, that's great. It's amazing too. I don't blame you because it's hard. But if you ever run like a half marathon or a 5K or 10K, or this can just be in your everyday life and your exercise program that you follow, like, go into it with just like a good mindset and, be excited to be there and to be moving your body and, be so grateful and thankful that you've been blessed with health. It's just so easy to take our bodies and what they're capable of for granted. So that's like my ultimate message in this episode is don't take for granted what you got because you never know when you're not going to have it. And take all these experiences and enjoy them and be present. That's something that I am really, 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 really focusing on, is being so present and intentional with what I'm doing. So yeah, maybe I will have a fundraising episode for those of you who are raising funds for your organization, because again, that was the hardest part. So maybe I'll have a fundraising episode. I'm just kind of thinking about that. So we'll see. I'll try to get one out for you, maybe craft one together and release that for you too. So everybody have an absolute wonderful, amazing, fabulous day. I am so happy that you're here. I love doing this. Thanks for listening to my marathon experience. It is something, again, that I'm so passionate and so proud of. And maybe I'll do one again someday. When I finished, I said I'll never do that shit again. But I was in a lot of pain, and I just felt really terrible after, like the days after. But looking back on it now, like, who knows? Maybe I will do it again one day. But, anyways, this is the Mile 17 podcast. My name is Colton. Thank you for being here. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at ColtonLord17. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Colton Lord. And yeah, keep coming along on this journey. Spotify, Apple Podcast, here for you. Super excited. And I love that you're here to listen. So let's keep building this community and just going through life together. That's what it's all about. So I'll catch you guys later. See ya.